There is a rule in software development called the DRY rule, D-R-Y, and it stands for don't repeat yourself. Today, I would like to talk about how that rule applies to writing and world building in a fantasy context. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Just in Time Worlds with your host, Marie Mullaney. If you enjoy this kind of world building content, do consider smashing that subscribe button, and if you want to support me in making more of these videos, you can buy my book or hit my Ko-fi page. Okay, let's get cracking. In software, it is easy to recognize when you are about to repeat yourself. The first time you highlight a function and you press Ctrl-C, you're probably heading down the path of falling afoul of the DRY rule. It is a little harder in fantasy creation. However, there are some signs to look for. The first and easiest is verbal repetition. You can see verbal repetition even in mainstream authors. The word haunches will forever be imprinted on my memory after reading the Mistborn trilogy. In James Islington's books and in Joel Abercrombie's books, everybody is forever grimacing. Raymond Feist has a verbal tic about rueful smiles. There is an awful lot of rueful smiling going on in his books. This kind of repetition is actually quite easy to catch in modern editing software. I searched for shrugging when I did my editing of The Hidden Blade and found that I had over 84 words indicating shrug. Clearly, there was far too much shrugging going on in The Hidden Blade. There is, however, a more pernicious form of this kind of repetition, and that is emotional or content type repetition. I will illustrate this by means of an example from The Hidden Blade. I was writing a forest scene where the main character was in a forest and in a village, and I found myself with the following sentences. Louis was no Thatcher, but he could fix a roof. And then in the next chapter, there was this beauty. Louis was hardly an expert forester, but he knew how to hunt. A little further on, I think in the next chapter, there was this one. Louis could not call himself the best tree climber, but he knew how it was done. I can't remember the exact sentences because they're gone now. All of them edited away because my editor left me this gem of a comment. Louis seems to not be an awful lot of things while managing to do everything at once. And he was not wrong. That kind of repetition is harder to catch, but you should catch it in your final editing. When you read the chapters together, it becomes clear what you are doing. What I was trying to illustrate with those sentences is that Louis wasn't in his normal comfortable environment of the city, but he did manage to cope. What I ended up doing was repeating the same concept over and over, making my reader feel as though I considered them too foolish to catch on early enough. Have you seen that kind of repetition in other fantasy works? Let me know in the comments. So how do you recognize this kind of thing? The first is don't be afraid to use modern technology. By all means, hit the search function for your favorite word, see how many times you repeat it, and maybe consider finding some synonyms for that action. Reread your work as a whole body and see if you have concepts that are continually repeating themselves. If those concepts are repeating themselves and you didn't mean to include them, edit them. That is not the same as deliberate repetition. I deliberately repeat the smell of daffodils a great deal in the book, but there is a reason for that. Someday, you'll know why I kept repeating the smell of daffodils. And that is my take on upholding the DRY principle from software in fantasy world building and writing. I hope that you enjoyed that episode of Just in Time Worlds. Please do hit the thumbs up button if you did. It helps make sure that the algorithm doesn't bury the content out back. Also, feel free to share this video far and wide. If you really enjoyed this and you want to help me make more of these videos, you can buy my book, The Hidden Blade by Marie M. Mullaney, or you can hit my Ko-fi page where you can make a one-off donation, buy a membership, or even buy a product. And I will see you soon for another episode of Just in Time World.